Final game of the three-game series between the Dodgers and the Rockies. Friday night, game one of the series, and it was Odalis Perez in quest of his fourth win of the year. He brought a lot of good stuff to the game, striking out 7. However, in the third inning, he was trailing 1-0. By the time the fifth inning came up, Aesop Choi hit the first grand three-game series. Dodgers trying for a sweep against a Colorado ball club that has really struggled, not only in the month of April. They are 6-15 in April. That's the worst month in the franchise history. They are also 1-9 on the road. In fact, the only game they've won this year on the road, wouldn't you know, would be in Philadelphia. Here's the way the Rockies line up. Aaron Miles at second base. Desi Relaford plays short. Clint Barmas, after a marvelous April, gets a day off. Todd Helton at first. Brad Hopp in right. Garrett Atkins at third. Dustin Moore will move to left field. Todd Green behind the plate. Corey Sullivan will be in center field, and Sean Chacon on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, Derek Lowe. The numbers say 1 and 2, but it's more important to look at that ERA. It is only 2. Derek started up in San Francisco, allowed 2 earned runs, and lost. He went 7 brilliant innings and still lost. Then in Arizona, he went 4 1/3, no decision. Picked up a victory when he shut down San Diego 4-0. Then in San Diego, he did not allow an earned run and had a no decision. Dodgers won that game 3-1. And then against Arizona, he really had his only poor outing. He gave up 10 hits and 4 earned runs and lost. Even then, the Dodgers only scored 2 runs for him. Back of Derek Lowe with the leather, we'll take a look at the Dodgers. And it's Aesop Choi and Jeff Kent, Cesar Izturis and Jose Valentin. The Dodger outfield changes because Milton Bradley's going to get a day off. So Ricky Leday is in left. J.D. Drew moves over to center. Jason Repko goes to right. Jason Phillips behind the plate, and Derek Lowe on the mound. So for J.D. Drew, he's played a lot of center field, no problem for him. For the Rockies, Aaron Miles will lead it off. One of the things about Aaron Miles, he is hitting very well. And as he checks in at the plate, hitting .316 and better than .300 from either side of the plate. However, as a leadoff man, he seems to violate the description, because the job description means as a leadoff man, you figure to get some walks. He doesn't have any. Miles takes a strike. If you ask Clint Hurdle, well, how about your leadoff man not walking? He said, that doesn't bother me because he gives you good at bats and he gets deep in the count, but I wish his on base percentage was better. He takes another strike and the count 0-2. His on base percentage is .315, and Clint said I'd be a lot happier if it was .375. Strike 2 pitch on the way is swung on and missed, lost by Phillips in the dirt. Picks it up, fires to Choi, who had to leave the bag to catch it in foul ground. So there's a rather erratic way to start the ball game as Miles strikes out and reaches, and we'll see now how the official scorer rules it. It was obviously low, and by the time Phillips recovered and hurried his throw, it was on the foul side of the bag, and Choi had to leave it. So Miles, maybe he doesn't have any walks, but now he strikes out and reaches, and the batter is Desi Relaford. So Relaford, a switch hitter, batting left-handed. Low turns, throws to first. Miles jumps back on the bag. Aaron Miles 1 for 1 in stolen bases. And the veteran Desi Relaford hitting .300, checking in at the plate. By the way, the scorer has ruled it strikeout, wild pitch. Low deals, and this one is fouled at the plate. 0-1 the count. With Lowe, a sinker ball pitcher, it's only his first wild pitch of the year. On this lovely Sunday, the temperature is 71 degrees here at Dodger Stadium. Beautiful blue sky day. Hope you enjoy your Sunday wherever you are. If things are not going too well, maybe this will help get your mind off it. Relaford with Helton to follow, and then Brad Hopp. Out of his stretch goes Lowe. Derek deals a drag bunt up along first on the chalk and goes foul, and picked up by Hee-Seop Choi. Not a bad idea, especially if you're a left-hand batter, as Relaford tried to bring it with him, and it just peeled off foul. Relaford hitting left-handed, hitting .333. Right-handed, he only has 6 at bats, but hitting just .167. Relaford in the past, and one good reason why he's in the lineup, he is 5 for 12 against Lowe with a double, 2 home runs, and 3 walks. Here comes Derek. Fastball is chopped foul on a full swing, and the count 0-2. Derek Lowe and Desi Relaford. Well, how about some of the others? Well, Todd Helton is 2 for 5 against him. Dustin Moore is 2 for 2. 0-2 the count to Desi Relaford. Lowe looks down the barrel to get a sign. Now Derek turns, throws to first, and holding on is Aaron Miles. If you weren't watching the pregame show, you would have found out that Derek Lowe was named after a hockey player, Derek Sanderson. Lowe kind of round-shouldered as he looks in to get a sign from Phillips. There goes the runner Miles, and it's fouled off. So Relaford on a hit-and-run play fouls it away. Relaford has had 33 plate appearances, and he has struck out only 4 times, so it made sense to run Miles. Also with the Rockies, they are already 8 games behind the Dodgers. As bad as that is, there is yet another team worse off, and that would be Kansas City. Kansas City is 11 games behind Chicago. 0-2 the count, and the pitch is inside, almost hit Relaford. 1-2 the count. I always remember the story of the minor league team, the Toledo Mud Hens. When you talk about a bad team, the Mud Hens were mathematically eliminated in July, and the ballpark was condemned, and they had to finish the season on the road. Now that's a bad team. Derek Lowe, meanwhile, is throwing strikes. He made 8 pitches, 7 of them in the zone. And working on Desi Relaford. 1-2 the count. No score. We're just starting. We can see a lot of folks back at left field slowly making their way into the ballpark. There goes Miles. Hit and run ground ball to Kent. Jeff makes the play, and Miles moves into second base. For Kent, by the way, he has now handled 122 chances without an error.
Todd Helton.
So now Todd Helton coming up with 1 out in the first inning as the crowd slowly makes its way into the ballpark. Helton, for the first time, had a streak snap. He had 14 consecutive months where he hit over 300 until this April. And Todd takes a strike, and the count 0-1. This April he hit .267. Rod Carew had a string of 16 months from 1973 into 75 where he hit 300 or better, and Larry Walker had a streak of 15 months. Helton takes outside, 1-1. Helton and Clint Hurdle are good buddies, and they also needle each other. And they were asking Clint Hurdle about Helton, and Clint, typically tongue-in-cheek, shook up the press conference. Low, ready, and deals, and that's low. Hurdle said if he doesn't improve with the bat, now you're talking about one of the great hitters in the game. Hurdle said if he doesn't improve with the bat, he's going to find himself in Colorado Springs. So they said that to Helton, and Helton said if I'm in Colorado Springs, he'll be managing in the Northern League. And tit for tat. 2-1 the count to Todd Helton. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. We all know what a hitter he is. Helton, in each of his first 7 major league seasons, just tore up the league. And the pitch to him is swung on, a high fly ball to right. Leday coming over near the line and make it Repko. And Repko making the catch and tagging up as Miles going to third. The Dodgers kind of scramble the eggs in the outfield today. Ricky Leday is in left. Jason Repko is in right. And J.D. Drew in center. So held in a fly ball to Jason Repko, and with 2 out, the batter is Brad Hopp. So Lowe giving up a fly ball in the first inning. A little surprising. You know, he thrives on ground balls that kill a lot of worms. And the batter now, the left-hand hitting Hopp, who has done well. Hopp was 3 for 4 last night with a home run and 2 RBIs. He takes a strike and the count 0-1. So in the month of April, Hopp hit .380, and he had 4 home runs, 13 runs batted in. With a runner at third, Lowe deals. There's a line drive bullet into right center field for a base hit. The run scores, and just like that, the Rockies are on the board. I was going to say just before Hopp hit that ball, it is no surprise that Helton would hit a fly ball. You have a lot of left-hand hitters in the lineup for the Rockies, and traditionally the majority of left-hand batters like the ball down. So you're facing a sinker ball pitcher, and it will indeed be strength versus strength all day. So a strikeout on a wild pitch is the key to the inning. It should have been a 1-2-3 inning, but it wasn't, and the Colorado Rockies take a 1-0 lead. Now the batter is Garrett Atkins. Interesting little angle here with Atkins the batter and Bill Miller the plate umpire. Garrett fouls it away. Bill Miller received a bachelor degree in history from, altogether, UCLA, and of course Garrett Atkins graduated from UCLA. Bill Miller, born in Vallejo, lives in Aptos, California. Garrett hits a ground ball to short as tourist to Kent. They get the force, but the Rockies get a run. A strikeout and a wild pitch, and the unearned run is cashed in. 1-0. The Rockies cash in a hitter who struck out on a wild pitch and lead the Dodgers 1-0. Here's the way the Dodgers will try to get it back and then some for Jim Tracy. Cesar Izturis, Hee-Seop Choi, and J.D. Drew. Jeff Kent, Ricky Leday, and Jose Valentin, followed by Repko, Phillips, and Lowe. Dodgers concluding a very good month of April. Wound up 15-8 against Sean Chacon. The right-hander ready and delivers. Izturis fouls it off to the left out of play, and the count 0-1. Izturis batting .333. Izturis, by the way, in contrast, let's say, to Aaron Miles, has at least walked 5 times. Not that he walks a lot. Chacon ready in the strike 1 pitch, low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sean Chacon on the mound, the kid born in Anchorage, Alaska. Right-hander ready, and the 1-1 pitch on the way, and that's outside, ball 2. Many years ago, and every time I see him I think of it, there was a song, Sam, You Made the Pants Too Long. Yeah, that was the actual title. The 2-1 pitch, a strike, and every time I look at Chacon, I hear, Sam, you made the pants too long. Not that you expect a cuff, I guess, but he really has the droopy draws. The 2-2 pitch swung on, hit foul into the right-hand hitter's box. So Izturis is still there. 2-2. For Chacon, as he kind of walks around inside the pants. What was that gag during the war? I thought you were supposed to be at attention. Yes, sir, I'm at attention. My clothes are at ease. Well, Sean Chacon's pants are at ease. Fastball is lined to left, but right at Dustin Moore. So Izturis, a line drive out, 1 away, and they've already used the leather. So let's take a look at the Rockies. They'll start with Helton and Miles. Relaford making only his 2nd start at short this year, but he can play almost anywhere on the field. Garrett Atkins at 3rd. Moore, Sullivan, and Hopp in the outfield. Chacon and Green behind the plate. And the batter is Hee-Seop Choi, who had that big slam the other night. Hee-Seop hitting .259 and takes a look at a pitch low and inside, ball 1. Choi appeared as a pinch hitter last night, was called out on strikes. Night before, he walked twice and hit the slam. Out in front of an off-speed pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. Sean Chacon 3-5 lifetime against the Dodgers. 6'3", about 215 pounds. Choi hits a high fly ball to right center field, but it looks playable, and it's going to be Corey Sullivan, the center fielder, making the catch. It was an off-speed pitch, a straight change, and Choi got it, but not quite enough, so 2 down. Chacon has had his moments against the Dodgers, good and bad. He blew a save when Sean Green hit a 2-out 2-run home run on an 0-2 pitch last year. And in 6 games against the Dodgers, he gave up 10 earned runs and walked 9. Here now is J.D. Drew, and he takes low ball 1-0. But the good for Chacon, 2 years ago, he had a 2-hitter in 8 shutout innings. So he's got the stuff. The pitch to Drew very high, ball 2. He also had 7 shutout innings without a walk at Dodger Stadium that summer. So Sean Chacon has been through the mill, and the 2-0 pitch on the way is low, ball 3. Last year, the one number that really bothered him, he might have had 35 saves, but Chacon allowed a lot of runners to get on base. So he's now a starting pitcher, and he allows one to get on now as he walks J.D. Drew. So that will bring up Jeff Kent. Kent at 37, certainly showing no signs of slowing down. Jeff playing every inning of every game. He's handled 122 chances without an error. He's hitting .333 with a half a dozen home runs, and he has 18 runs batted in. So Drew at first, 2 out, 1-0 Rockies. Chacon set and deals, and the pitch in for a strike. Let's see about Chacon and the Dodgers. Kent is 7 for 23. That's a .348 batting average. However, no Dodger in the lineup has a home run against Chacon. Strike 1 pitch on the way, misses low and inside, ball 2, 2-0. Jason Phillips 3 for 6 against Chacon. So Kent waiting, 1-1 the count, 2 down. Drew draws a throw, dives back to the bag. Chacon, the last time he faced the Dodgers, went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs, 7 hits, walked 4, struck out 2, and picked up the victory. Rockies won that game 8-6 at the expense of Odalis Perez. The pitch to Kent is low. So after walking Drew, he is now behind to Kent, 2 balls, 1 strike. Chacon looks in, getting a sign from Todd Green. The pitch to Kent is swung on and missed, and the count 2-2. When you pitch for Colorado, naturally you have to pitch at home, and you're going to be victimized. But Chacon has only allowed 1 home run. In direct contrast to left-handed Joe Kennedy, who started last night. Joe's given up 7. Chacon, right foot on the rubber, looks to get the sign. Now Sean ready. He's 27 years old. He'll be 28 2 days before Christmas. Sean Chacon went from the bullpen back to the starting role. Last year his record was 1-9. Mostly in relief. The pitch is a breaking ball, strike 3 call. Kent can't believe it. He just stands there, drops the bat and the helmet. Body language tells you he disagrees. At the end of an inning, Rockies 1, Dodgers 0. 1-0 Rockies, second inning. Derek Lowe, a big sweeping breaking ball off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes to Dustin Moore. Moore on the DL, just coming back. He's 1 for 9, and Dusty swings, doesn't get it, and the count 1-1. Well, looking down at Derek Lowe, we were talking about Sean Chacon. It is the modern look, because Lowe is just about dragging the bottom of his pants in the dirt. Pitch fouled off. 1-2 the count. So I guess if there is one big difference between the modern day player and, let's say, the player of 30, 40, 50 years ago, in those days neatness counts. Lowe checking. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Derek turns and comes back 1-2. Fastball hit up along third, charging, scooping, and throwing on the run is Valentine to get him. So Moore, a slow roller to third. Nice play by Jose. One away. And Todd Green coming up. How rare is that? Hesop Choi has not gotten a message yet. Everyone else has the droopy draws down around the ankles except Hesop. I liked it better in the old days, but I'm sure the players tell you that they didn't like the idea that the pants were binding around the knee or high up on the calf. So it's for comfort. And the pitch to Todd Green, right-hand hitting catcher, in for a strike, and the count 0-1. 1-0 Rockies. If you weren't with us, Miles swung and missed on a wild pitch and reached first. 2 outs later, he scored on a single by Brad Hopp. The pitch down and away to Green. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lowe with the puka shell necklace around his neck. He wears it for good fortune. The 1-1 pitch, fastball hit in the air to right field. Repko is there. Jason comes up and makes the catch for the out. So if nothing else, it is a little surprising for Lowe to have gotten 5 outs and 2 of them fly balls. When Derek is on his game, you see an awful lot of ground balls. And now here's Corey Sullivan. Sullivan appeared as a pinch hitter last night and struck out. He appeared as a pinch hitter the game before and singled, fouls the first one back. And the one game he started against the Dodgers in Denver, he had a single, a double, and a triple. And he has 8 for his last 13 at bats. Corey Sullivan. Lowe stares in to get a sign, and Sullivan, tired of waiting, and backs out. Derek turns, ready in the strike 1 pitch, and that misses inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sullivan getting on base, not only with base hits. In his last 15 plate appearance, he's been on base 10 times. He fouls a pitch away, and the count to Corey 1-2. They have some fine young outfielders. Meanwhile, Chacon waiting on deck. Corey Sullivan is out of Wisconsin, and he went to school at Wake Forest. The pitch to Sullivan is nubbed in front of the plate. Phillips is on it and throws him out. So the Rockies go 1-2-3, but at the end of an inning and a half, Rockies leading 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Pretty little miss and some company with pink hats. The girls and boys are here of all ages on this lovely day. And now checking in at the plate, Ricky Leday takes a soft curveball for a strike, and the count 0-1. For the Dodgers, finishing up April, it was the best April the club has enjoyed since 1984. Strike 1 pitch on the way, that's outside. In '84, the Dodgers were 17-8. This year, 15-8. And one thing the Dodgers are sure doing, the faithful are coming. The 1-1 pitch is fouled away. The Dodgers' average home attendance, the best in the major leagues, over 49,000 for the average. And talking about a successful April, you know, Jim Tracy has the best winning percentage in the month of April of any of the managers over the last 5 years. The pitch of the day is low, and the count 2-2. So Jim has gotten his ball club off and running, and that's so important. 2-2 pitch is fouled at the plate, so Leday is still there. We'll also have kind of a higher octave in the cheering today because the Dodgers are welcoming more than 3,000 youth baseball, softball players, their coaches and families. They had 12,000 last night, part of the Dodgers Play Ball LA program. And we're thrilled to have them here. 2-2 pitch, and Leday has a look. It's low, ball 3. 3-2 to count. Waiting his turn on deck, Jose Valentine. Now the 3-2 pitch coming up. Chacon delivers, fouled off. For Sean Chacon, trying to keep the Dodgers off the base paths last year, I mean, he was pitching out of the stretch during the anthem. He allowed 128 base runners in 60 innings. I mean, every time he looked up, somebody was having a party. 3-2 pitch, and Leday lifts it up into that puffy white sky. Backing out is Rutherford. He's hollered off the ball. Sullivan makes the catch as Moore hits the dirt to get out of the way. So one away. A reminder, Tuesday at 7:10, the Dodgers host the Washington Nationals for $2 True Blue Tuesday, presented by General Motors. You can get top deck, reserve level, and pavilion tickets for only $2. Purchase tickets online at Ticketmaster outlet locations or at the Dodger Stadium advanced ticket window. So don't be on the outside looking in. Here now, Jose Valentin, a strike. 1 out, second inning, 1-0 Rockies. Jose hitting .211. Back comes Chacon, and the pitch is high. Third base has not been a hot corner as far as the offense is concerned. It's been ice cold. Valentin hitting .211. Nakamura 156. Valentin takes a strike, and the count 1-1. Now Chacon ready, in the 1-1 pitch on the way, and that's hit in the air to left field. Going back a few steps is Moore, and Dustin makes the catch for the second out. 2 down. Jason Repko coming up. A report, Eric Gagne made 35 pitches in the bullpen, and he mixed them up. Fastballs, curveballs, changeups. Said no pain, so that's very good news. Meanwhile, you may remember Wilson Alvarez pitched 3 days ago, and he could very well be activated tomorrow or Tuesday. So here is Repko. Jason waiting, takes inside under the elbows, ball 1. Repko is a rookie. If you ask him how you feel, he would say, honestly, yeah, terrible. The 1-0 pitch on the way, and that's a strike, and the count 1-1. He's been bothered, I guess, with a touch of the flu. First from the head to the nose to the chest to the stomach and everything that goes along with it. Repko takes low ball 2, but when you are a young player battling for a job, we're going to have to kill you to keep you out of the lineup. And Repko last night, remember, had that 2-run home run, a 3-run home run in the 5th inning. 2-1 pitch to Jason, and that's off the plate, and the count 3-1. Hard curveball, pretty good fastball in the low 90s. That's what you'll get, and a good changeup from Chacon. 3-1 fastball on the inside corner, 3-2. He has also developed a cutter on the sidelines, and they say he used that against left-hand hitters. So 3-2 the count to Jason Repko. And the next one is low, ball 4. Chacon, and it's all part of his rhythm, does a little toe tap, certainly from a windup, just before he releases the ball. So now Jason Phillips coming up. With Repko at first and 2 out, Dodgers have had 2 base runners on 2 walks. And remember, there's been a pattern in the series. Friday night and Saturday night, the Dodgers have been held hitless in the first 4 innings, and then somehow they come back and win it. Phillips takes a strike. Dodgers against Jason Jennings were no-hitted for 4 innings, came up with 4 in the 5th, went on to win it 6-3. Close play at first. Then last night, the Dodgers were no-hitted for 4 innings from Joe Kennedy, came up with 5 in the 5th inning to win that one. So Phillips looking for the first hit early in the game. Chacon at the belt and deals in the dirt. Nice save by Todd Green. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. Pitcher Derek Lowe is on deck, so the Dodgers are not going to gamble on the base paths. Phillips now backs out and checks with Glenn Hoffman. Phillips hitting .302. He has a dozen runs batted in. Another throw and just getting back is Repko. I mean, that was very close. The word on Chacon is that he has an exceptional pickoff move. Exceptional. That's in direct contrast to Derek Lowe. They run wild against Lowe. In Lowe's games, the opposition has stolen 8 bases, and Dodger catchers have only been able to throw out 1. 8 out of 9. And of course, when Derek pitched in the American League, he gave up 34 stolen bases. For Chacon, working hard, this will be his 21st pitch of the inning, and it's swung on a high fly ball down the left field line. Moore coming over in the corner and makes the catch on the track. So Phillips slaps his hands together in frustration. He just missed. And at the end of 2, 1-0 Rockies.
Last 2.
Rockies lead the Dodgers 1-0 in the 3rd inning. And it'll be Sean Chacon to start it off. Chacon, Miles, and Relaford in that order. And Derek Lowe set to go to work. On the scoreboard, Atlanta edged the Cardinals 2-1. Philadelphia beat Florida 8-6. Giants knocked off Pittsburgh 8-3 as Chacon takes a strike. Houston leading Chicago 9-3 in the 8th. Strike 1 pitch is swung on and missed 0-2. Arizona is leading San Diego 2-0 in the 3rd inning. That's Javier Vazquez and Woody Williams in San Diego. The pitch is away and the count 1-2 to Sean Chacon. Chacon has never had a reputation of being much of a hitter. They say he has worked hard. Low deals way outside and the count 2-2. The Mets and the Washington Nationals will be tonight. So the Washington Nationals are in Washington to play a night game. That means an 8:05 game. 2-2 pitch, a comebacker. Lowe has it, underhands to first, 1 away. So if you're the Washington Nationals, you got to figure you play an 8 o'clock game. That's over at 11. If you're lucky, you'll leave the ground at Dulles maybe at 1:30 in the morning. Maybe a 5.5 hour flight. That's 7. Subtract the 3-hour time difference. They will land here about 4 in the morning tomorrow and then play the Dodgers tomorrow night. The first pitch to Miles in for a strike and the count 0-1. So Loaiza and Erickson starting Monday night. Next one is fouled off. So the Dodgers playing the Washington Nationals. Of course, the Dodgers got Colorado in the wee small hours. It's all part of the scheduling. And this time it's the Nationals' turn. 0-2 the count to Aaron Miles. Low into the windup, deals and a fly ball to center. Backtracking a little bit. It carries over his head, in fact, and goes off his glove. And J.D. Drew picks it up on the track and gets it back in. J.D. playing a day game at Dodger Stadium in center field, and for the first time is looking into the wedding cake, the multi-tiered Dodger Stadium, and he never had a bead on it. He thought he had it, and the ball just kept carrying. He leaps in the air, but it goes off his glove. So Drew misjudging what will probably be ruled a triple. Double, and Desi Relaford coming up. If you're playing in the outfield, you look in, it can be a nightmare, and especially his first game in center, and it will go as the double, although naturally between us, center fielder would have caught it. Bradley. The pitch to Relaford is high, ball 1. So for Derek Lowe, he's got to think, well, now what kind of a day is this going to be? I strike out a guy, he reaches on the wild pitch and scores. Now a fly ball to center is played into a double. 1 ball and no strikes to Desi Relaford. The next one is off the plate, ball 2. Strange kind of a follow through by Derek Lowe, almost as if he fired that pitch in disgust. 2-0 the count. Relaford, switch hitter, batting left-handed, grounded out in the first inning. Has a look at a pitch that's low, ball 3. So Derek kind of wandering around out there on the mound trying to figure out about that puka shell necklace and just how much luck it's bringing him today. 3 balls and no strikes the count. J.D. Drew, who is a fine center fielder but a little rough at the position right now. And the 3-0 pitch in for a strike. If you are old enough, your mind goes back to the 1966 World Series. The Dodgers in Baltimore, and a very good center fielder by the name of Willie Davis had an absolutely nightmarish World Series playing in the daytime here. 3-1 the count to Desi Relaford, who backs out. 1-0 Rockies. We're in the third. Aaron Miles with a gift double at second base. Low out of a stretch, a look back, and the pitch at the plate swung on, popped up. Valentin comes down the line and makes the catch for the second out, but not the third. So the Rockies get that extra out, and who do you think is trying to take advantage of it? None other than Todd Helton. Helton flied to right in the first inning. He is 2 for 6 going against Derek Lowe. A mark of consistency. What a hitter. So Helton waits. Lowe set, ready, and deals, and the first one is inside, ball 1. On deck, the left-hand hitting outfielder Brad Hopp. Rockies 1, Dodgers nothing in the third. Lowe's next pitch, a sinker, is low, ball 2, 2-0 the count. Helton giving an opportunity, if they pitch to him, to pick up Miles. Lowe again ready. Right-handed deals, and that's outside, ball 3, 3-0. Rockies 1 run, 2 hits. Dodgers nothing across but a couple of walks. Now the 3-0 pitch to Helton, who could be swinging, but he takes on the outside corner at the knees. 3-1 the count. Helton, who has had almost 100 plate appearances, has struck out 6 times. 3-1 pitch is driven to right, going back on the ball as Repko reaches up to snare it, and that's that. So Helton, a line drive out to right. They lead Miles, and at the end of 2.5, 1-0 Rockies. 1-0 Rockies. One man who empathizes with J.D. Drew, former outfielder John Shelby. And Drew explaining, and no doubt Shelby saying, "Yes, son, I know, I've been there." And the first pitch to Derek Lowe, low and inside, ball 1, 1-0. Chacon ready. Sean comes back. Fastball hit the straightaway center, but Corey Sullivan is there. So we have 1 out in the third inning. You know, the Dodgers host the Braves on Friday, May 13th at 7:40, and the first 50,000 fans will receive a rally towel courtesy of 76 Pro Clean Gasolines and the Automobile Club of Southern California. So call 1-866-DODGERS or log on to Dodgers.com for more information. Dodgers, following Wednesday night's game, hit the road. Cincinnati and St. Louis come home to play Atlanta, Florida, and Anaheim. So here is his tourist, flied to left in the first inning, and he takes off the plate, ball 1. His tourist, with his on-base percentage moving up each year, right now at a high of 370, takes a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. It certainly went unnoticed. There was no reason to report it. But what a super throw he made last night. He takes a pitch off the plate. He went in the hole to take a base hit away from Preston Wilson, who runs very well. And somehow, on one leg, made a great throw to first base. It was just one of many plays throughout the game, lost in the shuffle, but boy, he can really play short. 2-2 the count to Cesar Izturis. Here comes Chacon. The right-hander comes right back, and a shot up the middle for the first hit of the game for the Dodgers. And when the ball is bobbled and kicked by Sullivan, thank you very much, his Turris just moves to second base. Sometimes I have a feeling that on Sundays the defensive skills have been eroded by all the night games. It just seems that way. And as Sullivan kicks a base hit, the Dodgers get a break. It'll be 1-1, a single to center, and the error charge to young Corey. So the tying run at second base, 1 out, and here's Hee-Seop Choi. Choi flied to center in the first inning. So the big left-hand hitting country boy out of South Korea. And here comes Chacon working low and inside, ball 1. 1 run, 2 hits for the Rockies. No runs, 1 hit for the Dodgers. We're in the third. Chacon set at the belt. Now the 1-0 pitch, and Choi hesitates and takes low, ball 2, 2-0. Chacon throws a slider, but usually not to left-hand batters. That's when he throws the cutter. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way. Fastball, but it's low, ball 3. On deck, J.D. Drew. So Choi has a look at Glenn Hoffman with the count his way, 3-0. His Turris backing away from second. Relaford directly behind him. The 3-0 pitch, and that's a strike, and the count 3-1. Glenn Hoffman shepherding his Turris, and Choi back up to the plate. Here's the 3-1 pitch from Sean Chacon. Swung on and fouled back, and the count 3-2. Nice crowd taking advantage of a lovely day in the ballpark. Crowd has to be somewhere 45,000, maybe even more than that. And we can still see some people coming in back of left field. 3-2 the count to Hee-Seop Choi. Chacon is ready. Right-handed delivers off speed and high, ball 4. So he tried to change up on Choi, but it wasn't even close to the strike zone. So for Chacon, he has walked 3, given up 1 hit. For Clint Hurdle, he has to be thoroughly frustrated by his pitching staff. In game 1, the Colorado pitchers walked 10. Last night, they walked 5 with a wild pitch, and now Chacon has walked 3. And J.D. Drew, who walked in the first inning, coming up. 2 on, 1 out, third inning, 1-0 Rockies. Chacon out of a stretch, set at the belt. Sean comes way outside, stumbled in his delivery. Another changeup. So he's thrown back-to-back changes, and neither one even close to home plate. So Todd Green goes out to talk to him. One thing Chacon is doing, and we've talked about the fact he's just thrown back-to-back changeups. He rarely, if ever, used the changeup when he was reliever, when he was a closer. It was one hard pitch after another. So his Turris at second, Choi at first, 1 out in the third, 1-0 Rockies. And J.D. Drew on a 1-0 count looks at a fastball low, ball 2. Drew hitting .259, but you know he got off to that horrific start. 0 for 25, so he's had to really hit to get his average up that high. Belts one foul down the right field line into the stands, and the count 2-1. On our Dodger dugout show today, preceding the game, talking to J.D. Drew about a home run he hit against Matt Clement when he was playing in St. Louis. It traveled 514 feet. Here's a 2-1 pitch, and that is low, ball 3. So if you're sitting in the stands, I don't think you're too impressed with J.D. Drew's physique. But he's about 6'1", 200 pounds, and he has a lot of size. Produced 30 home runs last year. Here's his 3-1 pitch to J.D., and that is low, and the Dodgers have loaded the bases. 4 walks. Given up by Chacon. Bob Apodaca goes running out to the mound to talk to Sean, and Jeff Kent will be coming up. So after Lowe flied to center, Izturis singled, handcuffed Corey Sullivan for an error that allowed Izturis to reach second. Then Choi walks and Drew walks, and here comes Kent. In case you're wondering, Jeff Kent has 11 grand slams. He hit one in September last year, number 11 against Cincinnati.
Second baseman Jeff Kent.
The other night, Jason Jennings would have his pitch total in balls and strikes, and that's exactly where Chacon is. He's had 29 that missed and 28 that were strikes. The other night, Jennings 86 pitches and 43 balls, 43 strikes. So here's Kent, and it's inside, ball one. So Chacon is really pitching backwards behind every hitter. Bases loaded. Izturis, Choi, and Drew are all out there with one down. Kent waiting. Chacon comes back with a breaking ball off the plate. Now it's 2-0. Kent had a lot of strength last year, led the league in scoring fly balls. Dodgers taking their leads in the 2-0 pitch to Jeff. Chacon delivers, swung on and missed, breaking ball down and away, a good one. 2-1 to count. Kent coming into the game was hitting .348 against Chacon, 7 for 23, and for Chacon, this pitch coming up will be his 22nd. He made 21 pitches the previous inning. 2-1 pitch. Fastball low. Ball 3. Well, you would assume a veteran power hitter like Kent, it will be up to him whether he wants to swing or not. 3-1. That would be an assumption. So the crowd now getting into it as Chacon looks down the barrel to get a sign. Izturis, Choi, and Drew take their leads, and Kent decides to let Chacon hang out there, and he backs out of the box. 3-1 to count as Sean squints in to get a sign. Out of a stretch he goes, and the 3-1 pitch is lined to left, base hit. Izturis scores. Everybody just goes 90 feet. Kent hit the ball so hard, a one-hopper to Dustin Moore in left, so the Dodgers have tied it up. Jeff Kent, a line drive single. That means Drew moves to second, Choi stops at third, and Izturis came home. So Jeff Kent really drills one, and that will bring up Ricky Leday. So we have a 1-1 tie here in the third inning. Leday flied to center in the second inning, and he's coming up with one out. 2 slams in his career. His last one was 5 years ago against knuckleballer Tim Wakefield of the Red Sox. The pitch to Ricky in the dirt. A great save by Todd Green. Oh, that would have meant a run. So Chacon, who does not have a wild pitch this year, but he is wild today, is walked 4. So he has walked 9 and struck out 12. So he's been fighting his control all year. 1-0 the count in a 1-1 tie. Chacon delivers, swung on and fouled upstairs directly behind home plate, and the count 1-1. The so-called fastball alley. Fastballs wind up straight back most of the time. Rookie 0 for 1, hitting .304. Dodgers with Choi, Drew, and Kent out there, and one down. The 1-1 pitch, and Leday hits one down the left field line, slicing foul, going well back into the crowd. 1-2. Ricky with a home run, 7 runs batted in. He had a pretty good game in Colorado recently. 2 for 3 with a double and 2 RBIs. hoping to come up with a clutch hit now against the Rockies. Chacon out of a stretch. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball, and that's foul back. Hitting back of Leday, Jose Valentin. So in the inning, Lowe made out. His Turris singled, took second on the error by Sullivan. Choi walked, Drew walked, Kent singled to drive in one, and we're tied up 1-1. The 1-2 pitch coming up. Chacon's fastball is swung on and foul back. Chacon, who has been clocked anywhere around 92 to 94, but that was when he was in relief. He's been right at 89 in the first 3 innings. Clint Hurdle leaning on the railing and watching. The Rockies will fly to San Diego. That's right. They will fly from Los Angeles to San Diego. They have their own private plane. A reminder of the way things were with the Dodgers years ago. 1-2 pitch, very high, ball 2. So the Rockies go from Los Angeles to San Diego to Florida and then home. For Sean Chacon, this will be his 30th pitch of the inning. In Colorado, he had a 40-pitch inning. Right-handed curveball on a check swing for strike 3. A big, slow curve, 71 miles an hour, and Ricky could not hold up. So kind of a gutsy pitch to throw with the bases loaded and 1 out to a left-hand hitter. Slow curve in the dirt, and Ricky committed. So 2 down. Leday going back to think that over, and Chacon now sees a little daylight at the end of the tunnel. Here's Valentin, who flied to left in the 2nd inning. Sean into the windup, and the pitch to Valentin, that's low, ball 1. So there he is pitching behind again. Valentin has 7 grand slams, the last one 2 years ago in Kansas City. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way. Chacon delivers, swung on and missed. 1-1. Choi at third, Drew at second, Kent at first. 1-1 the count. Chacon nods yes. Rocks and turns. The 1-1 pitch, swung on and missed. 1-2. So despite the fact he has been fighting wildness, Chacon has a shot now at getting off the hook. 1-2 the count to Jose Valentin, batting .207, and he's gone back to his windup. There's the 1-2 pitch, a little toe tap, and delivers, and it's fouled away. Chacon from a stretch does not do it, but when he pitches from a windup, his foot will tap the dirt just before he releases the ball, all part of the trigger mechanism, and he'll do it now pitching from the windup. 1-2 to Valentin. The tap and the pitch, a curve in the dirt, and actually he almost threw that away. Something happened to Chacon when he went to tap. He almost stumbled and fell. His foot just didn't tap, it slipped on him, and he almost fell down, threw it away. So 2-2 the count to Jose Valentin. Bases loaded, 1-1 tie, 3rd inning. Here comes Chacon, and the fastball is hit foul in the lower deck down the right field line, and Valentin is still there. 2-2. Jose with 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. Chacon really laboring now, 75 pitches, and he's not out of the 3rd inning. Sean ready. Here he comes 2-2, and it's swung on and missed. So Leday and Valentin strike out. Leday on a slow curve, Valentin on a fastball, and at the end.
16 years to throw a 10-inning complete game shutout.
They're standing again for the best Cardinal pitching performance so far.
Bank of America, higher standards.
We're going to the top of the 4th inning in a 1-1 tie, and Derek Lowe pitching to Brad Hopp for ball 1. Well, we mentioned when we were in Colorado, Chacon had a 40-pitch inning. In the third inning today, he had a 38-pitch inning. 2-0 to Brad Hopp. Hopp single to right to drive in Aaron Miles in the first inning. Hitting .392. That's a strike. 2-1. So Lowe is even now. He had made 47 pitches at the end of 3. Chacon more than 75. Breaking ball. Hopp is on it. 2-ball, 1-strike curveball, and he straightened it out. So Brad Hopp is 2 for 2. Rockies have a couple of fine looking young hitting outfielders, and Hopp is one of them. Corey Sullivan another. Michael Restovich yet another. And of course they have the veteran like Moore and another fine young hitter, Matt Holliday, and then you toss in Preston Wilson. It's some good hitting outfielders. There goes Hopp hitting ground ball to Kent. They get one and they're going to get 2. Oh, what a great play by Kent. It looked like a ground ball out to the second baseman, and Jeff thinking 2, and he got rid of that thing so quickly that Atkins never had a chance to beat the throw to first. The double play, 4-6-3. Quick feed by Kent. And then his Turris turned it nicely. So 4-6-3, 2 down. Dustin Moore, the batter. Chopper to the hole. There's his Turris. Leaps in the air but didn't have a grip. So he never threw the ball wisely. Infield single for Moore. Great effort by his Turris. And Todd Green coming up. Although we're going to have a replay of that play he made last night, where somehow his Turris jumps in the air and not only makes the off the ground throw, but with a lot on it. But that time he didn't have a grip. If he had tried to throw it, it would have landed in Pasadena. Green flied to right in the second inning. Right. Frank Robinson and the Washington Nationals, formerly Montreal Expos, will be in here tomorrow night. 0-1. Popped up. Valentine in foul ground. So no runs, 2 hits. The double play was a big one. And at the end of 3 1/2. Put your thinking cap on. Here's our trivia question. J.D. Drew, one of the top 5 picks in the MLB draft twice. Who's the only player ever selected #1 overall twice? When J.D. was drafted, first time in history, his brother was also drafted. His brother Tim. That's right. And by the way, Tim, a pitcher, is trying to make it out of AAA to the big leagues with the Colorado Rockies. Here's Repko. 0-2. Jason, as we said, feels terrible, but he's playing. 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. The Rockies have had such a tough time on the road, 1-9. Even though they've had some outstanding play by a couple of young players. That's in the dirt. 1-2. The one Rockies win against Philadelphia. But they must hate to come here. You know, the Rockies haven't won a series in Los Angeles in 4 years, not since August of 2001. In fact, Colorado now has a span of 10 series where they haven't won any. They've lost 7 and split 3. They are 7-24 in games played here lately. Well, Chacon had it again. His pitch count 18 in the first, 21 in the second, 38 in the third. High fly ball to center. Corey Sullivan is there. So Repko a fly ball, one away in the fourth inning. And the batter Jason Phillips.
Catcher Jason Phillips.
Chacon trying to lead the Rockies out of the wilderness. The Rockies have lost 4 straight. And if you go back to last year, they are a ball club that must hate to leave Coors Field. They've dropped 13 of the last 14 road games, 18 of the last 20. Get rained out, you have a victory party. 1 ball and no strikes to Jason Phillips. That's a strike. 1-1. Phillips just missed in the second inning. Hit a towering fly ball. Dustin Moore caught it on the warning track in left field. Jason slapped his hands together in frustration at first base. Breaking ball hit wide at third to Atkins. 2 down. Okay, you know the trivia question. Do you know the answer?
Pitcher
Question had to
Garrett
do
Cole.
with JD, one of the top 5 picks in the MLB draft twice. He's the only player ever selected number 1 twice. Danny Goodwin with the White Sox and the Angels. Yeah, I hear you. A number 1 pick twice. Derek Lowe flied to center in the third inning, 0 for 1. Fastball whacked and grabbed by Miles. So Lowe lines out to Aaron Miles. Dodgers gone in order first time. And at the end of 4, a 1. By the entirely new GS, the next phenomenon from Lexus. And by Southwest Airlines, nonstop service to over 59 destinations across the country. We have a 1-1 tie as we go to the 5th inning. It will be Corey Sullivan, Sean Chacon, and then Aaron Miles. Sullivan beat one right down in front of the plate, thrown out by Phillips. Fouled away. Sullivan batting .393. You know what we're doing in the booth? Always like to drop the other shoe. And we had that trivia question. The only player to be drafted number 1 twice. And then you say Danny Goodwin. You're not talking about Stan Musial or J.D. Drew. And you say to yourself, what the heck ever happened to Danny Goodwin? Ground ball to Kent. One away. So we were looking up. Danny was from St. Louis.
For the Rockies, pitcher Sean
Played with the
Chacon.
Angels. Never a lot. 50 some odd at bats would be the most. Played with the Angels, Minnesota, and Oakland. Pop fly. Kent going out and fighting the sun. Makes the catch. Using every trick in the book, he somehow or other found the ball and made the catch.
Second baseman Aaron Miles.
2 down. Aaron Miles coming up. Trying to catch it sideways. When you played as long as Jeff has played, there's a lot of things you can do to try and cut down the glare. He just tried everything and made the play. A strike to Aaron Miles. So anyway, Danny Goodwin did have 7 years in the big leagues. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. 7 years he hit 13 home runs. That's what's so tough. There's a kid everybody thought was going to be a great player. Line drive out. And that was his career. Okay, Rockies are done at the end of 4 1/2, a 1-1 tie. 1-1 tie, bottom of the 5th inning. Cesar Izturis shows bunt, ball 1. Izturis flied to left, single to center, advanced on Sullivan's error, and eventually scored the Dodger run. And Chacon behind yet another hitter, 2-0. But he's tough. He's only allowed 2 hits. Ball 3. Aesop Choi on deck, then J.D. Drew. Strike. Another strike. Izturis, of course, has played well all year, but especially in the daylight. He's hitting .423 in the daylight. Ball 4. The top Dodger hitter in the sunlight is Milton Bradley, who's not playing today.
Now batting.
Don't forget Tuesday at 7:10, the Washington Nationals $2 True Blue Tuesday, presented by General Motors. You can get top deck, reserve level, pavilion tickets for just $2. Purchase them online, Ticketmaster outlet locations, or at the Dodger Stadium advanced ticket window. Izturis at first, nobody out. Aesop Choi flied to center. He had a changeup and just missed hitting it out, and then walked. And there's Chacon again behind. He's been behind all day, and yet 1-1. Dodgers left the bases loaded in the 3rd when he struck out both Leday and Valentine. Leday on a slow curve in the dirt, and Valentine on a fastball. 1-0. Ball 2. He had made 88 pitches through 4 innings, did Chacon. So he's spending all his bullets here. 2-0. There goes Izturis, fouled away. So the Dodgers put on the hit and run. Choi fouls it off. 2-1 the count. I'll tell you what's so tough about that. It is really a gamble to play hit and run when you have a pitcher who can't find the strike zone. Choi got a bit of it, fouled it off. 2-1. Of course, with Izturis, maybe not that much of a gamble, but he's only 1 for 2 in stolen bases. Two and 1 to Choi. Line drive down the right field line. That's going to roll to the corner. Chasing it out there is Hop. They will hold Izturis at 3rd on the double by Aesop Choi. So the Dodgers are in business as Choi doubles into the right field corner. Izturis stopping at 3rd with nobody out. For Choi, his 3rd double. He has 3 home runs and 7 RBIs to go along with it. So 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, and J.D. Drew, who has walked twice, coming up with Jeff Kent on deck, and they are moving the furniture in the Colorado bullpen. Off speed, ball 1. So he changed with a little curveball. 67-mile-an-hour curve. Marcos Carvajal, who at one time was in the Dodger organization. He's only 20, and he's throwing in the Rockies bullpen. Ball 2. So Chacon tied 1-1, but he is really struggling. 100 pitches, and he's in the 5th inning with nobody out. That's a struggle. 2-0. Ball 3. Chacon was a quarterback in football. He was also a basketball player. He's an excellent athlete. He's 6'3", about 215. But boy, is he laboring. Now they're going to walk Drew for the 3rd time to load the bases with nobody out. And that will bring up Jeff Kent. With a man at first, Kent struck out in the first inning. Then in the third, with the bases loaded, Kent roped a line drive single to left to drive in one. He hit it so hard, Dustin Moore caught it on a hop and got it back into the infield, so Choi had to stop at third. Well, Bob Apodaca walking out to the mound. It's a pretty tough journey for the pitching coach. Among other things, Chacon has not only walked 5, he has had 9 3-ball counts. And yet, when it's all said and done, it's 1-1. Carvajal continues to throw in the pen. All right, Bob has had his say. Goes back to the dugout, and Chacon now trying to fight his way out of a jungle. He did well in the third, bases loaded to strike out Leday and Valentine. He actually retired the side in order in the 4th inning, and now he's back in the soup again. He has his Turris at third, Choi at second, and Drew at first. Nobody out, so he's not at mile high, but Chacon has to be gasping for breath now with Kent. First ball swinging, and it's a pop fly, but no infield fly, anything but. Sullivan for the catch, and his Turris is coming to throw. He'll beat it. When that ball was hit up in the air, the first person to move on it was Aaron Miles. So when you saw Miles go out, you thought they might call the infield fly rule, but the ball carried far enough, and so Jeff Kent, who led the league in scoring fly balls last year, picks up his Turris with a fly ball to center. Not very deep, but deep enough with the speed of his Turris. So Kent picks him up. That breaks the tie. First and second, it is 2-1 Dodgers. We're in the 5th inning. And here is Leday. Ball 1. Ricky flied to center, leading off in the 2nd inning. Then had a big chance in the 3rd with the bases loaded, and a classic case of trying too hard. Couldn't hold up on a slow curveball in the dirt. Fastball for the umpteenth time. Chacon is behind. 2 balls and no strikes. It's remarkable that he hadn't been knocked out a couple of innings ago. Choi and Drew are out there. And ball 3. Hurdle showing great patience. Clint hadn't been feeling very well. 3-0. And they let him rip. Fouled it off. 3-1. Time while they retrieved that ball, it caromed off the protective railing in front of the Rockies dugout. 3-1 to Ricky Leday. 2-1 Dodgers. 5th inning. High pop foul off third, down the line. Atkins to the top roller, but it's back in. Hoffman cashing out a sign or two to Hee-Seop Choi and to Drew. 3-2 the count. Ricky Leday has not grounded into a double play. He has struck out 9 times, so that's all in the mix as to whether they're going to run or not. Three and 2. The runners are not going on ball 4. So that's 3 more walks here in the inning.
third baseman, Jose Valentin.
It's almost like seeing one of those heavyweight fights where one boxer is on the ropes and is absorbing tremendous punishment, and your first thought is, how can he keep standing? Why doesn't he go down? Well, that's Chacon out there. Off speed, ball one. For the Dodgers, remember that little pattern. They didn't get a base hit in the first 4 innings of each of the first 2 games. Scored 4 runs in the 5th inning Friday, 5 runs in the 5th inning Saturday. Valentin, a fly ball. Miles is calling, so the infield fly rule is called. So on a fly ball to right field, first base umpire Joe Brinkman went out there, and it was the infield fly, even though Brad Hopp was right there capable of making a throw. So is he going to get off the hook again? Jason Repko, the batter. Chacon has walked 7, given up 3 hits, only 2 runs. Been a remarkable performance in that way. Curveball, he dropped it in there. 0-1. That's the rare time where Sean Chacon has actually gotten the first pitch for a strike, and whoops, Jim Tracy does not think so. 0-1. Another curveball. 0-2. In the dirt, squirts behind Green, but not far enough for Choi to advance. Choi at third, Drew at second, Bleday at first. 2 out. In the dirt again, and a nice save by Todd Green. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chacon doing it again. This next pitch will be his 28th in the inning. Two and two. Fastball hit to Atkins, down to Miles, and he's out of the inning. Say one thing, but Sean Chacon is some battler. Dodgers lead 2-1. Hey, and the time of game 3 hours and 50 minutes. But you know what? The next day the Dodgers played in Philadelphia, lost it in 13 innings. The day after they played Boston again and lost in 19 innings. Let's go back to this one. And ball one to Desi Relaford. Yeah, that was some string, wasn't it, of extra inning games? 26, 13, and 19. First 3 days of May. Right. But then come to think of it, maybe the most amazing thing about that streak, that 26 inning game only took 3 hours and 50 minutes. 1-1. Little chopper to Choi. He'll hang it for Derek coming over. 1 out.
Batting next, first baseman Todd Helton.
You wonder just how long Chacon will stay in the game. He's had a 21 pitch inning, a 38 pitch inning, and a 28 pitch inning. The one thing for sure, Sean is big and strong. Helton twice flied to right. The second time he almost hit it out. Ball one. On this day in 1965, actually it was a night game, and the Dodgers playing the Giants here at Dodger Stadium. Tommy Davis, the National League batting champion twice, the left fielder for the Dodgers, broke his ankle sliding into second base, and I think everybody in the ballpark thought, well, there goes any possibility of the pennant. So the Dodgers, losing the great player, dipped down into the minors and brought up a colorful character by the name of Lou Johnson. And as the fates would have it, 5 months later, Lou Johnson hit the game-winning home run in the World Series. That sounds like a movie script. Against the Minnesota Twins. 2-1 Dodgers. 6th inning, 1 out. Line drive base hit. So Helton comes up with his first hit to go 1 for 3, and the batter will be Brad Hopp.
Rockies right fielder Brad Hopp.
Brad Hopp 2 for 2. So Helton hitting it. Actually, I'm sure if you're Derek Lowe, you thought that was right at your head. It wasn't quite. Ball 1. Hopp 6'2", 200-pounder. He'll be 26 near the end of June. A graduate of a great baseball program at LSU. He's from Fort Worth. Strike. 1-1 the count. Brad Hopp can thank first base coach Davy Collins for helping him become a better outfielder. Davy had a great career and a wonderful base stealer as well as a fine outfielder. 1-1. 2-1 Dodgers. Top of the 6th. 1 out. Ball 2. Hopp has some stock. He hit as many as 31 home runs in Colorado Springs. Behind him, Garrett Atkins. Fouled away. 2-2. Washington Nationals here starting tomorrow night. Esteban Loaiza and Scott Erickson. Tuesday night, if his infected ear condition has cleared up, Zach Day and Jeff Weaver. Wednesday night, Livan Hernandez and Odalis Perez. Meanwhile, Derek Lowe trying to balance his books. He is 1-2. 2-2 to Hopp. And he hits one to left, fighting that glare and staying with it is Ricky Leday. 2 out. Now, we mentioned at the start of the game how base runners run on Lowe. He gave up 34 stolen bases last year. This year, they have been successful 8 out of 9 against him. Helton over there at first base is 1 for 1 in stolen bases. He has never been a big threat on the bases. Most he's ever had would be 7. But with Lowe working, we'll see if Hurdle runs him. That's a strike. 0-1. Garrett Atkins, he was born in Orange and lives in Irvine. Went to UCLA. One of those guys, first at bat in the big leagues, he had a 2-run double. That was 2 years ago. 1-1 the count to Garrett. 6'3", 210. And as we've mentioned, because it is a terrific note, the only 3-time All-American in UCLA history. At one time, In college, he had a 33-game hitting streak. Did he? Yes, he did, says Joe Brinkman. 1-2 to Garrett. He opened that stands up last year. In other words, he was never quite that wide open, as good a player as he was at UCLA and in the minor leagues. Last year, he figures he can see the ball a lot better. Same thing for Luis Gonzalez, only batting left-handed. 2-2. Dodgers 2 runs, 3 hits. The Rockies 1 run, 5 hits, and 1 error. Dodgers received 10 walks in the first game, but had only 5 hits and managed to win it 6-3. 5 walks last night, they managed to win it 6-2. 7 walks so far today, and they're leading 2-1. That's a strike. So Atkins caught looking at a borderline fastball. I think he thought it was low, no pun intended, and it's 2-1. MC, we are professional grade. We're going now to the bottom of the 6th inning, and Sean Chacon certainly got to hang in there today from his teammates. A tremendous effort, fighting his control all the way, and he will now surrender the ball to Marcus Carvajal with 2 changes on the infield. Desi Relaford, who started the game at shortstop, has moved over to third. Clint Barmas, the regular shortstop who is going to get a day off, is in there now. The Dodgers will have Jason Phillips, Derek Lowe, and Cesar Izturis to face one of their own. Signed originally by the Dodgers 4 years ago. Foul back. Marcus Carvajal spells that last name C-A-R-V-A-J-A-L. Born in Bolivar, Venezuela. Still lives there. 6'4", 180 pounds. Bounce that one. 6'4", 180. He has been impressive of late. He's been in 5 previous games, 7 innings, and has not given up a thing. So they've decided to bring him in to pitch here at Dodger Stadium. Fastball hit in the air to right field. Brad Hopp is there. 1 out. Carvajal was signed by the Dodgers. Camilo Pascual suggested they should sign him back in 2000. Then the Milwaukee Brewers chose him out of the Dodger organization in the Rule 5 draft, but then they immediately traded him to the Rockies for a couple of minor leaguers and some money. And he was on the Rockies opening day roster, becoming the youngest player ever to play with the team. He is 20 years old. He'll be 21 the middle of August, and he's going to face Nori Nakamura, who will bat for Derek Lowe. So Nakamura hitting 156. Picks up for Derek. Off speed for a strike. 0-1. So Derek worked hard, went 5. Got into the 6th, retired the side, and they've decided to hit for him. He had one really easy inning. That was the 5th inning, when Lowe made only 7 pitches. Gio Carrara warming up in the Dodger bullpen. Carvajal, fastball, slider, changeup. 2-1. Lowe made 80 pitches while he was in there. Two and two. Be a little while to add up the pitches for Sean Chacon. I think it's like 116. 116 in 5 innings. Fouled away. But to Chacon's credit, I mean, a big heart. He refused to quit. It wasn't his day. He was walking the house. Walked 7, allowed 3 hits, only 2 runs, kept his club in the game. The 7, a career high for Chacon. And for the Dodgers, you talk about, what do they call a pass, a free ticket. Well, the Dodgers received 23 walks in this series so far. 23. So Chacon really battled them. Ground ball to Helton. He will feed Marcos coming over. So 2 down as Nakamura grounds out. And the batter will be Cesar Izturis. Izturis flied to left, single to center and scored, walked and scored. That's another interesting thing about the walks. The Dodgers have received 7 walks. Only 1 scored. Fastball to the screen, ball 1. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 5 hits for the Rockies. Dodgers trying to win 3 in a row. Rockies trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. Fouled away. Dodgers in 5 innings have stranded 8. So they haven't made it easy for Tracy, despite all the gifts. Ball 2, 2-1. So a 20-year-old coming in to try and restore order. And that's going to be hit into right field. Base hit for Izturis. Over to get the ball is Hop. Fumbles out of haste. He knew it was Izturis, and he knew that he was motoring. And Brad trying to hurry up and get the ball kicked it, but they will probably rule it a double. Because he was way over in right center and had to come back to get it, and a clean sweep couldn't do it. So for Izturis, another multi-hit game. That would be his 14th multi-hit game. And here's Aesop Choi. Ball 1. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers now. Two out. Ball 2. Choi has flied to center, walked in the 3rd inning, and doubled in the 5th. Shot back to Carvajal. Oh, what a nice play to take a base hit away from Choi and retire the side. Ball was sharply hit, and young Marcus made a good play. And at the end of 6, by Jack in the Box, where we don't make it till you order it, and by your Southern California Ford dealers. See your Ford dealer today. The Dodgers entrust a 2-1 lead to Giovanni Carrara, and Gio will be pitching to Dustin Moore, Todd Green, and Corey Sullivan in his 10th game, and with a record of 3-0, trying to save this thing for starter Derek Lowe. Dustin Moore grounded to third, single to short, out of Mississippi by way of the University of Alabama. 0-1. Moore, besides being a Major League Baseball player, is a huge NFL fan, and especially the Denver Broncos and John Elway. 0-1. Fouled away. They say that anytime Dustin Moore's team, whether it's the Giants or the Rockies, but anytime his team needs a win, he leaves 2 tickets for Elway. Even if Elway's in Yugoslavia, he'll leave 2 for him. 0-2 to Dustin. Ball 1. Gio Carrara. 2 innings a couple of days ago, you may remember, against Arizona. He struck out 5 in the 2 innings. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dustin Moore. Breaking ball. Dustin, a hard-nosed player. You remember when he was with the Giants, boy, he gave them 100% all the time. 6'1", 215. Went to the University of Alabama. Two and 2. Ball 3. Moore doesn't have a lot of power. He's hit as many as 12 from Minnesota. He hit 7 last year for the Giants. Three and 2. Oh, good fastball, and it had movement on it at the last moment. It just seemed to jump away. So Moore down on strikes, 1 out.
For the Rockies,
Todd
catcher,
Green
Todd
coming
Green.
up. Interesting, when the game started, Derek Lowe struck out Miles and it cost him a run. He had only 1 other strikeout. And now Carrara gets a K and now works on Green. Fastball for a strike. 0-1. Green 0 for 1 in the past against Carrara. Corey Sullivan on deck. Left-hand hitter. Foul back. One other thing, if you're not keeping score, remember Clint Barmas, the red-hot rookie shortstop, in that double switch. Barmas bats 9th. Green flied to right, fouled out to third. Todd 0 for 2. Hitting .265. One and 2. Rockies got a run in the first inning. Miles struck out on a wild pitch. 2 outs later, he scored on a base hit by Brad Hobb. Jeff Kent lined a single to drive in a run in the 3rd, and the Dodgers got the go-ahead run in the 5th. When his tourist walked, Choi doubled him to 3rd, and his tourist able to come home on a fly ball to center. And that's it. Dodgers have cluttered the bases, leaving 9 in 6 innings. They've received 7 walks. 2 and 2. Off speed, fouled away. So Green giving Gio Carrara a battle. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Up the middle, here comes his tourist. Green had a tough break because the ball hit the side of the mound, and that took all the steam out of it. If it doesn't hit the side like that, his Torres probably couldn't have caught up to it. So 2 down. And the batter, Corey Sullivan, 0 for 2. Against Derek Lowe, Sullivan hit one right out in front of the plate, and then last time up, grounded to the right side. Strike. 0-1 to Sullivan. Corey out of Wisconsin, went to school at Wake Forest. On the corner, 0-2. He was rehabbing a year ago and lived with Matt Holliday, and now they're teammates with the Rockies. Sullivan was on the DL all last year. An outfielder who suffered and had to have the Tommy John surgery. Well, Carrara comes in, retires. Oh, sure. Lots of fun in the ballpark. A gorgeous day. Hope you make your plans to be with us maybe one of the next 3 nights. Frank Robinson bringing the Washington Nationals into the park. The pitching matchups, Esteban Loaiza, Scott Erickson tomorrow night. Zach Day and Jeb Weaver Tuesday. Livan Hernandez and Odalis Perez Wednesday. J.D. Drew. And ball 1. Young Carvajal pitching out of a stretch. Drew has walked 3 times today. Right. 1-1 to J.D. One and 2. It was way back in the 3rd inning, remember. J.D. fooled on the ball hit by Aaron Miles. It eventually went off his glove for a double, but Miles did not score. That's the only man to get to second for Colorado since the 1st inning. Foul back. So in a tough 2-1 game, that was a huge failure on the Rockies' part to cash in a big break. Relaford popped up and Helton flied to right, and they left Miles at second. 1-2. Slow curve. Boy, that really fooled him. So Drew strikes out, loses his bat on that big overhand curveball at 71. 1 out in the 7th.
Second baseman, Jeff Kent.
Jeff Kent struck out in the 1st inning, lined a single to left to drive in a run, and then last time came up with his specialty. He had 11 sacrifice flies last year. 11. And it's his scoring fly ball in the 5th inning that is the difference in the game. It got his Torres home. So he's driven in both runs. That's a strike. 0-2. When the Rockies come up in the 8th inning, they will have Clint Barmas, who bats 9th, the shortstop. Then Aaron Miles and Desi Relaford, and if anybody gets on, Todd Helton. Oh, 0-2 to Kent. Good fastball, blew him away. So Carvajal, a former Dodger product, has come in.
For the Dodgers, left fielder Ricky
Strikes out Drew and Kent. Drew on the curveball, Kent on the fastball, and now the batter is Ricky Leday. Well, Day would like to have an at-bat back. Remember, he, after flying out in the second inning, couldn't hold up on a slow curve in the dirt and struck out with the bases loaded in the third. Did draw a walk to load the bases in the fifth. And a high fly ball to Corey Sullivan in left center. So Carvajal does well. The rookie allows one hit in 2 innings. Jim Tracy hoping to look through rose-colored glasses with the Dodgers leading 2-1. And we go to the 8th inning. Clint Barmas, the outstanding rookie shortstop who hit .410 in the month of April, rested for 6 innings and then came into the game in the double switch. 0-1. And he's in a hole to Gio now, 0-2. Barmas out of Vincennes, Indiana, went to Indiana State. Vincennes, they tell me, about 3 hours from St. Louis, so he grew up a Cardinals fan. Ball 1. Gio Carrara, so the veteran from Venezuela, now in the game facing the rookie from Venezuela, Marcos Carvajal. 1-2. Off speed, whacked into left. What a favor he did with that pitch. So a straight changeup, and Barmas said thank you so much. And a line drive single to left. Well, Barmas with his base hit. Now Miles and Relaford down in the Dodger bullpen. The side arming duo, Steve Schmoll, the right-hander, Kelly Wunsch, the left-hander. Miles struck out but reached on a wild pitch and scored, doubled, and lined out. Bunts in the air, caught by Carrara, who throws it away. There wasn't anybody on the bag. And coming over to finally get it is Repko, and what a big break. Meanwhile, we're watching Jeff Kent getting up very, very slowly. So Carrara thought he had a double play, but there wasn't anybody on the bag. Choi is coming in. Kent certainly couldn't get over there, but the throw is to the invisible man, and then Kent tries to knock it down, and he can't do it. So even though Miles pops the bunt up, Carrara's error puts Barmas, the tying run, at second with 1 out. Gio draws the error. So now he's doubly angry at the changeup he gave Barmas, and now his error. And here is Relaford with Helton on deck. Relaford 2 for 6 against him, and Helton is hitting .400 against him. So Gio has his work cut out in the 8th. Dodgers leading 2-1. Ball 1. This is really part of being a professional now. For Carrara, he has to get over the pass. He has to turn it off immediately. Never mind the changeup that was single. Never mind throwing the ball away. Like the golfer who has a bad hole, goes to the next hole, he's got to blank it all out. Managers, they can't blank it out. They sit and stew. 1 ball, no strikes. And a strike, 1-1. Desi Relaford grounded to second, popped up, grounded out again. Relaford hitting .273, trying to pick up Barmas from second to tie up the game. 1-1 to Desi Relaford. 1-2. Relaford was born in the same town whereby J.D. Drew was born, Valdosta, Georgia. J.D. 28. Relaford is 31. He'll be 32 in September. 1-2 to Relaford. Fastball, but he missed in the count. 2-2. Desi was playing for the Mets. He's played for a lot of teams. He played for the Mets in 2001, and he pitched in that game. Mets lost it 15-3, so in one of those blowouts they had Desi pitch, and he did well. 91-mile-an-hour fastball, they said, a 76 circle change, and a curveball, and retired the side 1-2-3. Ground foul. In fact, it might have been a give-up game for the Mets, but Desi said it is perhaps the best moment in his playing career. Said it was a dream of mine to get a chance to pitch, and there I was pitching in the big leagues and did better than I had a right to expect. Look at that. Played almost everywhere, including one game on the mound. So the only position he's failed to play is catcher. Desi first came up to the Phillies 9 years ago. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Barmes at second, the tying run with 1 out in the 8th. Curveball got him. So Carrara breaks off a dandy and comes up with his 3rd strikeout as Relaford goes 0 for 4. Good breaking ball. And the batter now is Todd Helton, and Jim Tracy's heading for the mound. He has Kelly Wunsch down there, so you have to assume that Kelly's going to be brought in. And Gio looks like he's still muttering either about the throw to first or the changeup or both, but he did a good job, and he goes out, and Kelly Wunsch comes in. We'll be back. 2-1 Dodgers in the 8th inning. The Rockies have the tying run, Clint Barmes at second, and Kelly Wunsch, who was asked to get the top left-hand batters in the league, is now asked to get Todd Helton for the 2nd time in this 3-game series. In the 8th inning Friday night, Wunsch was brought in to face Helton and got Todd to hit into a double play. Roundhouse curveball, but he missed, ball 1. Helton 2 fly balls to right and single to center. Todd 1 for 3. Breaking ball on the outside corner, 1-1. Helton came in batting .296 against left-hand pitching. Waiting on deck, another left-hander, Brad Hopp. 1-1. Big sidearm curveball. 1-2. I think it's Matt Holliday down in the Rockies dugout holding a bat. But the Dodgers have Steve Schmoll, the right-hander, down in the pen. There's Holliday. 1-2 the count to Todd Helton. And got him on a big sweeping curveball. Boy, that's pretty good. You come in and pitch to Helton twice. You get him to hit into a double play. And now you come in and strike him out. A job well done by Kelly Wunsch. And he is met by a very grateful Gio Carrara. Boy, they come out of the bullpen. They have done a marvelous job. They're somewhat overlooked, I guess, as far as reports are concerned. But the Dodger bullpen has been a tremendous surprise. Meanwhile, the Rockies pen has not been a tremendous surprise. It's been rough going. Brian Fuentes, the left-hander from Merced, born and still lives there. Valentin turning around to bat right-handed. 1 ball and no strikes. Valentin has flied out, struck out, popped up. Ball 2, 2-0. Jose batting 200. The so-called Mendoza line, trying to keep his head above water. Ground, fair ball at third. Relaford with the throw in time. So Valentin grounds to third, 1 out. What's been going on? Well, Disturris leading the way. He's been on base with a single and a double plus a walk to score the 2 runs. It was Jeff Kent who has knocked them in with a scoring fly ball and a bases loaded single. Doesn't look like much for J.D. Drew, 0 for 1, and then you realize he walked 3 times. The rest of the lineup, a lot of collars. So now Repko, walk, fly to center, hit into a force play, 0 for 2. Oh and 1 to Repko. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think if you ask Jason how do you feel right about now, he would tell you if I worked in an office, I wouldn't go into work. But when you are battling to impress the manager, if you can possibly play, you play. Little foul. 1 and 2. Jason was saying he was so upset he almost upchucked in the outfield. Two balls, 2 strikes. Brian Fuentes, 6'4", 220, working on Repko. Big breaking ball, I believe, hit him. Yep. So Repko is nicked by the pitch. For Jason, that's the 4th time that he's been hit by a pitch.
Catcher, Jason
Big
Phillips.
sweeping curveball and just got him on the back leg. Dodgers were retired in order only in the 4th inning. They left 8. They have certainly not taken advantage of getting 7 walks today. 23 walks in the 3 games. And here's Jason Phillips, fly to left, grounded to third, fly to right. Jason hitting .288. So it's been Chacon, Carvajal, and Fuentes. Chacon pitched a very gutsy 5 innings. He made 116 pitches in 5 innings. Drive to center. Sullivan is there. So Phillips a fly ball for the 2nd out, and the Dodgers now will send up Almedo Signs, and he will bat for Kelly Wunsch.
Your attention, please, for the Dodgers. Batting for Wunsch, number 8, Almedo Signs.
Tracy making notes as Signs comes up. Almedo is hitting .355, coming off the bench. He is 2 for 5 with a couple of RBIs. And they're going to keep an eye on Repko. Repko is 2 for 2 in stolen bases. Off speed. Signs played last night, went 0 for 4, but did score a run. As Tracy calls him, a very professional hitter. When the Rockies come up in the 9th inning, they have Hop, then the pitcher spot, and more, and among others, Matt Holliday figures to see some action. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2-1 Dodgers, 2 down. Repko over there at first, drawing yet another throw. Brian Fuentes has been a very consistent reliever the last 3 years for the Rockies. Last year he hurt his back, and that really hurt the Rockies bullpen without him. Foul ball. 1-2. So Olmedo signs battling in a 1-2 count. Washington Nationals here tomorrow night. Signs 1 for 2 in the past against Brian Fuentes. Because Fuentes leans so much in his delivery, he has trouble holding the runners on, so he has to throw over there a lot. Foul back. One thing, Fuentes hit 89, and he can hit 90 on the gun. Left-handers, not many of them throw hard, and certainly not many left-handed sidearmers, but Fuentes fulfills the bill. Those signs giving it a battle, and the count goes to 2-2. Waiting his turn on deck, Cesar Izturis. Fuentes realizing the runners like to go on him, because as he starts his delivery, he's pretty well straight up, and then he bends. And when he bends to get the arm angle, that's when the runners usually try to go on him. There he bends. Signs, meanwhile, pops it up. Helton backtracking. Behind him is Miles, but Helton's the taller of the two, and Todd made the catch. So the Dodgers leave Repko, who was hit. They're heading for the 9th, 2-1. 2-1 Dodgers, and we have reached the 9th inning. Another fine crowd on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. The paid attendance to see Yancy Brazoban try and close up shop, 46,243. 46,243. So Brazoban, in the absence of Eric Gagne, has been the closer, and he's done a great job. And now he'll face Brad Hopp. Fastball, ball 1. That didn't break 90. Most of the time Brazoban comes in and amazes you. His first pitch is usually 95, but that was only 89. Foul back. That was 92. Preston Wilson is out on deck, so Wilson will be batting for the pitcher Fuentes. Breaking ball missed, 2-1. Brad Hopp single to right, twice flied to left. Brazoban trying to close it up at his expense. Brazoban has 7 saves. Ball 3. Hopp has read the scouting report. You get fastballs in the 90s, hard slider. 3-1. Fastball. In looking at Yancy's numbers, you always look strikeouts and walks. He's 2.5 to 1. 10 strikeouts, 4 walks. Dodgers 2 runs, 4 hits. Rockies 1 run, 6 hits. The Rockies have only played one one-run game, and they won it at home. For the Dodgers, this would be their 5th. Luis Gonzalez now comes out of the dugout, and he will take the place of Preston Wilson.
Your attention, please, for the Rockies. Pinch hitting for Fuentes, number 4, Luis Gonzalez.
So Luis Gonzalez coming up to bat for Fuentes and not Preston Wilson. And for Brad Hopp, he's been on base 3 times, 2 singles and a walk. So Hopp, the tying run at first. And here is Luis Gonzalez from Maracay in Venezuela. And that gets away, but not far enough. Hopp remains at first. The contrast, where the Dodgers have received 7 walks from Colorado pitchers and 23 walks in the series. That walk to Hopp here in the 9th inning was the first walk the Dodgers have received. Chacon was more than generous, but he battled like a tiger. Walked 7 in 5 innings, made 116 pitches, but only gave up 2 runs. Meanwhile, Gonzo having trouble getting the bunt down, and the count 1-1. So Hopp, the tying run at first. The normal rule in baseball, you play to win on the road, you play to tie at home. But at least for the moment, the Rockies are playing to tie, going for the bunt. 1-1. Gonzalez 0 for 1 in the past against Brazoban. And bunts it foul, and the count 1-2. Sometimes when things are really going well for a ball club and you're in a situation like this, you ask the guy to bunt, he fouls off a couple, so you take the bunt off and he gets a base hit. Something wonderful happens. With the Rockies, who have won only 1 game on the road, we'll see if anything wonderful happens. Rockies are 1-9 on the road, the only victory in Philadelphia. Going back to last year, they've lost 13 of the last 14, 18 of the last 20 on the road. Full swing, got a piece of it, lost the bat, the ball goes to the screen, and the count is still 1-2. So Hopp will go back to first, and Gonzalez will try it again. He was originally drafted by the Indians and was selected by the Rockies in the Rule 5 draft 2 years ago. Hopp at first, 1 out. Excuse me, nobody out. A 1-run difference. One and 2. Poke foul, lost his bat again. So young Luis Gonzalez, he's 25. At least he's getting a piece of the ball as he loses the bat, and Brad Hopp, the tying run, stands at first. The Gonzo couldn't get the bunt down. Now he's trying to stay alive at the plate. He had sacrificed twice this year for Clint Hurdle. 1-2. That's a part of Brazoban's game that he's learning, holding runners on. There goes Hop. The pitch is missed. The bat is lost. The play is safe at second. Boy, that's some at bat. And wait a minute, they're going to call interference. That's what they're doing, and here comes Clint Hurdle to argue. So Luis Gonzalez lost his bat on 3 swings, and apparently staggered, interfered with Phillips, and Hop, who had the play beaten at second, is called out, and there you have a double play. And Hurdle says, what next? See what Gonzo did. He walked right in front of Phillips. So Gonzalez had a very bad at bat. He lost his bat and then steps. I mean, it was so obvious to stand in front of the catcher. Maybe he was kind of in a daze over losing his bat on 3 pitches, but whatever. He blunders into the double play. So 2 down in the 9th. And here is Dustin Moore. Ball 1. Boy, lose your bat on 3 straight swings. That's something. And then to walk in front of the catcher. 1 ball and no strikes. Look out. Oh, did he get that one right in the small of the bat. Wow. Moore didn't like it at all, but who would when you get nailed by a pitch in the 90s? That was clocked at 94. That would almost knock the number off your uniform. I mean, sometimes you take one for the club, but boy, that was ripped. So 2 out in a little bit of a bizarre 9th inning, and Todd Green will be coming up. I think Moore's reflex was more out of just being hurt. You notice in last night's game when Brad Penny was struck on the foot, I mean, he slammed his bat down. He was furious, but he was just angry over being hit. I think Moore the same thing. And boy, to take a 94-mile-an-hour fastball right in the small of the back. Joe Brinkman over to talk to him. So from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, by way of the University of Alabama, Dustin Moore is at first base. The tying run with 2 out in the 9th. And Todd Green, the batter. Todd Green flied to right, fouled out to third, grounded to short. Moore has been on the DL, so he hasn't played much. He's only been in 3 games. Consequently, he has not done any running at all. And that's foul back into fastball alley indeed. Straight back upstairs. 0-1. That was 94. You get so accustomed to seeing Brazoban come in and throw 95 and 96. He hadn't gotten that high yet. 0-1 to count. 1-1. For Dustin Moore, even when he plays a lot, he has never been much of a base stealing threat. His high in the big leagues, 6. 1-1. Foul back. Another fastball, another foul ball back. On the scoreboard, Arizona leading San Diego 5-1 in the 9th inning. And this big crowd, 46,243, and everybody up. 1-2 to Todd Green. 2 runs, 4 hits for the Dodgers, 1 run, 6 hits for the Rockies. If the Dodgers win this game, they will have swept the series, and they will have been out-hit in every game. Breaking ball gets way back to the screen. Moore to second and holds. So in the inning, you had a walk. Then you had Gonzalez trying to sacrifice, interfering with the catcher on an attempted stolen base for a double play. Then you had Moore hit by a pitch, and now on a wild pitch, Moore is the tying run at second base. 2-2 the count to Todd Green. Now Jason going out to talk, so timeout. Washington here tomorrow night. Dodgers, by the way, are in their 5th game that could be decided by 1 run, and they have split the previous 4. Tomorrow night, Esteban Loaiza and Scott Erickson. Tuesday night, Zach Day and Jeff Weaver. Wednesday night, Livan Hernandez and Odalis Perez. All right, Moore at second, 2 out, 2-2 to Green. And a high fly ball to left field. A day shy of the track will make the catch. So the Dodgers hang on to win it 2-1. Yancy Braziman made 8 pitches last night, but he had to make 19 today, but he hung on. 2 runs, 4 hits, and an error, and both Dodger runs knocked in by Jeff Kent, who's our player of the game. The Rockies 1 run, 6 hits, and an error, and we'll be right back.